Like, people will always have something to say, and so she gives them exactly what to say. Because you're going to stare, she gives you something to stare at. Because you're going to talk, she'll give you something to talk about. It still shows you just how unbothered she is. It still shows you just how she is so keen to live her life and does not care what you think. You can go kick rocks, you can go argue with your liver. She does not care. She's so unbothered, and that's beautiful, because again, people will talk, people will have things to say about you, whether you do the right thing, the wrong thing, they'll always have something to talk about, and people will never be contented. And I mean, she's a public figure, so they'll always kind of figure out a way to find fault with her. The best outfit you can do for yourself as a woman is not even the material dress that you're wearing. It's the self-confidence you're wearing. It's the self-assuredness that you wear. It's the tad bit of ego that you have. It's the tad bit of delusion that you have in yourself. Because people will not love you and put you on a pedestal if you're not doing it for yourself. All right? And so it's important that we navigate this world knowing that we are the ish. And we don't need to tell anybody we are the ish. We just move and navigate this world like we are the ish, knowing that very well that we are the ish. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, karibu sana. If you're a returning subscriber, karibu karibu. And if you haven't subscribed yet, kindly subscribe, all right? So in today's video, I'll be continuing with the series on Young, Famous and African. And today I'll be analyzing Khanyi Mbau. She's possibly my second favorite after Zari, and you'll get to know why. When we were introduced to Khanyi Mbau in season 1, there was this pianist who walked into her room and played this beautiful piece for her. And Khanyi Mbau was like, you know what? The day is already violent. Why would I want to wake up to even more violence through an alarm? And I was like, oh, that's my kind of chick. I don't know how sustainable that is. I mean, it's not my backs that are paying for it, but hey, one has to wonder, right? One has to wonder. I kind of understand her because my alarms are classical music pieces, just something soft, something mellow that, you wake up feeling luxurious and soft, and just a nice way to start the day. So I understand where she's coming from. Nobody wants to start with violence in the morning. So one of the reasons why she is my ultimate, second, obviously, to Zari, best or favorite, is her confidence. And not just her confidence, it almost comes across as though she has a little bit of ego. Okay, not quite a little bit, quite a bit of ego. And she's unashamedly herself. She doesn't care what people say or think about her. She's living her best life, and you can go kick rocks, essentially. And that kind of confidence in ourselves, that kind of, unbotheredness is very necessary in this life. Because ultimately, think about it, people will always have something to say, whether you do right, whether you do wrong. People will always have something to say, whether you dress well, people will always have something to say. And so she gives them exactly what to say. Because you're going to stare, she gives you something to stare at. Because you're going to talk, she'll give you something to talk about. Here's the thing, you must have a certain level of self-confidence, a certain level of delusion, and a healthy dose of ego to navigate this world. Because this world is such that, particularly for everybody, but most especially for women, is such that if you do not have that sense of self-confidence, the world will basically eat you up. If you do not have that sense of confidence, in fact, I normally tell people who are close to me, nobody should ever smell desperation in you. Nobody should. I mean, we all have our weaknesses, but never, ever, ever show desperation. Because the moment you show desperation for a woman, it sets you up to be used, to be abused, and to be discarded. But when you have a certain level of self-confidence, when you have a certain level of self-delusion, in terms of your dreams and what you want to achieve and how you hold yourself up to a pedestal, and most definitely a certain dose of ego, then this world is your oyster. You can navigate this world, and it does not matter what people think about you, what people say about you, because ultimately they'll think what they're going to think. They're going to say whatever they're going to say. So let not that stop you from reaching out to meet your goals. Don't let that stop you from living your life the way you want to live your life. And so it's just a healthy way to navigate this world. And that's what I love about Khanyi Mbau. And the thing with her, Obviously, we all know that she has, what do you call it, lightened her skin. I personally don't advocate for skin lightening, but the thing with her is she knows exactly what she wanted. She changed her skin tone, and we cannot go kick rocks again. She knows clearly, she's an adult. She understands the dangers of skin lightening. But the thing with her is she did what she wanted to do and she's happy with herself. Okay, however, I'll do a whole entire video about skin lightening because I kind of feel to a certain degree there's a level of self-loathing which might seem a bit contradictory considering I'm talking about Khanyi, Mbau, self-confidence and self-loathing. But hey, we as human beings are a bag of contradictions. But anyhow, she lightened her skin. People talked and talked and talked. People are still talking, but guess what? She's living her life, she's making her money, and she doesn't really care about what we think or say about her. And that's the thing with this life, you know. For a woman, you have to really make your decisions. You have to really understand that it's only you who's living your life. You have to understand that nobody else can live your life. Nobody else is in your heels, okay? So make your decisions, live your life, and have zero apologies to make to anybody. And zero excuses, obviously. The second thing I love about her is she is quite strategic. She reminds me of the coquette in what's his name, Robert Greene's book, The Art of Seduction. The coquette is very calculating, can be quite manipulative, quite strategic, and Khanyi is exactly that. Think about it. She's the one who helped to put the group together. And so that requires a healthy level of strategy. That requires a healthy level of manipulation to a degree, right? That requires a healthy level of, you know, just knowing exactly who you want and what you want. And she executed it beautifully. And think about it also, when you look at the program, yes, she may have run-ins with a couple of people here and there. In fact, Zari mentioned in this season that, you know what, she does not entirely trust Khanyi because she feels like she's up to something. She's quite manipulative. And she can be quite manipulative. And here's the thing. We are all manipulative. It's just that the degree matters or varies. All right, we are all. And the other thing is that some people are more obvious about it, some people not. And in this world, again, if you realize that if you do not have a healthy dose of manipulation in you, again, people will just use you, abuse you, and discard you. And it's therefore very important that it's not even so much about the manipulation as it is strategy. It's very important for you to be strategic as a human. It's very important for you to be strategic as a woman. Know exactly what you want. Know the things you need to get to where you want. And then you execute. And that's why one of my favorite characters in The Art of Seduction is the coquette. Just that the mentality of it. Although the coquette kind of also ends up playing a lot of games, which I don't advocate for. But if you're the type who likes playing games, by all means, do your thing. But here's the thing again. There must be a level of strategy to you. There must be a level of strategy to you because you cannot navigate this world anyhowly. You're not just flowing like what? Okay, I mean, you're not just merely existing. You must have strategy. Because you have goals, obviously, and so the strategies are very, very important to help you meet your goals. One of my favorite Beyonce songs is Ego. In fact, that's what this video is named after. And as she's starting, she talks about, you know, she walks like that because she can back it up, you know. Some call it arrogance, she calls it confidence. And I know personally, I do come off a bit arrogant sometimes. I do come off a bit egotistical, and yes, I do come off a bit selfish, just that bit selfish. And I am not making any apologies for that because let's look at it this way. I like myself. I think I'm a decent human being. I would say so myself. And yes, I can back it up. I can back my ego and my arrogance and my selfishness. I know. But here's another thing though. I'm not saying I'm not humble. I'm just saying, just this works for me. Let me just put it that way. I'm a decent human being. That's all that matters. I'm a decent human being and I have a healthy dose of egoism and a healthy dose of, yeah, self-confidence and quite a healthy dose of self-delusion and ego. And I'm not apologizing for it. And I think we should all have a little bit of that. There's something attractive about a woman who knows herself. Like, quite literally, there's this photo, one of my favorite photos of Marilyn Monroe. There's this running joke that, you know what, Marilyn can look beautiful even in a sack of potatoes. And guess what happened? She was dressed, the studio where she was at dressed, helped make a dress for her made out of a sack of potatoes, and she rocked it. Like, literally, she wore a sack of potatoes and looked better than almost every one of us. And that's the thing. The best outfit you can do for yourself as a woman is not even the material dress that you're wearing. It's the self-confidence you're wearing. It's the self-assuredness that you wear. It's the tad bit of ego that you have. It's the tad bit of delusion that you have in yourself. Because people will not love you and put you on a pedestal if you're not doing it for yourself. All right? And so it's important that we navigate this world knowing that we are the ish. And we don't need to tell anybody we are the ish. We just move and navigate this world like we are the ish, knowing that very well that we are the ish. And that's why Khanyi Mbau for me is the ultimate example of ego. She's very, she carries herself and handles herself like she's the ish and makes no apologies for it. And the other thing about her is that she has no time for pettiness. She has absolutely no time for pettiness. And I recognize that. And in fact, there's this thing... that I do or that I have. I don't argue, first of all. It's not in my nature to argue. And even if it was in my nature to argue, I kind of feel like it's beneath me. I don't know that some of you feel that way. I kind of feel like it's beneath me. Like, I will not argue. Like, you think whatever you want to think. I'll communicate what I want to communicate in a very calm voice. But I'm not going to start trying to prove a point or raise my voice, or I'm just like, you know what, this is what I feel, this is what I think. I'll say it very calmly, and then I'll leave you be. You can argue with yourself in your head. I'm not going to bring myself to that level. That's me. And I have kind of ended up recognizing that that's the ego in me speaking. That feeling like I do not want to get to certain levels or certain things are beneath me. That's ego. Let's just call it what it is. I don't know whether it's healthy. Maybe if you're a psychologist or a psychiatrist, you can tell me. But yeah, I am absolutely not going to certain levels with certain people. You know, you can argue with your liver. I am not going to argue with you. I don't care. If you think you're right, fine, you're right. By the way, you're right. Okay? You're absolutely right. Yes, you're absolutely right. I do not have the time, the energy, and I really do not care what you think or feel. But that's me. And maybe that's why I feel like Khanyi is a kindred spirit of thought. I can actually recognize that she feels that she's above certain things like arguments. She feels like she's above certain things like fighting. I feel that she's above certain things like just, yeah, she's not going to go down to certain levels. You either get to where she is or just leave her be. If you can't get to her level, just leave her be. Again, it does not necessarily mean that you feel like other people are second-class citizens. It does not mean that you feel that you're better than other people. It just means that you hold yourself with such high esteem, with such high regard, and you have your own standards. And yeah, you're not trying to prove anything to anybody, and you're living your life, your best life. The other thing I find with Khanyi Mbau, of course, is the people that she's dated. Obviously, again, she's dated very wealthy people who've taken care of her. And again, she makes no apologies for her. Have you seen her? Like, really, does she seem the kind of person to finance somebody's lifestyle? The only person she's taking care of is her daughter and herself. But beyond that, if you're a man who's approaching her, you better take care of her. And she won't even ask. You'll just approach her correctly. You know, the way African Americans talk about come correct or don't come at all. Exactly. And actually, that's the same thing that applies in Zari, although Zari now has become hypogamous. But anyhow, yeah. And so for her, you come correct or you don't come at all if you're a man. Yeah, so you basically know that you're supposed to take care of her. You're supposed to. She has certain standards. So when you're approaching her to be with her, you know that there's a certain way you're supposed to treat her and carry yourself around her. And then there was this controversy with her boyfriend. I don't know if she's still dating him. And there was this issue about how he makes his money and what have you. And her, she's like, you know what? I don't know. Don't care. I will not necessarily advocate for that because sometimes they might be up to some shady stuff that might end up implicating you and end up making, depending on where you live, and having your property frozen, money frozen, and all this stuff being confiscated. So I will not necessarily advocate for that. Yes, it's important for your man to take care of you, but it's also important that the source of money is legit. That one, I kind of disagree with her. Then the final thing is her interaction with her daughter. People are pissed. People are calling her every name under the sun because of her interaction with her daughter, her relationship with her daughter, because they kind of feel like, how do you how do you have your daughter, 16-year-old, live on her own, although you're neighbors? And they kind of feel like she has abandoned her or something. Now, I'm not here to judge her. That's her life. She knows how to live her life. And if she feels that's the best way she wants to raise her daughter, then by all means. I personally wouldn't do that. I'm a mama bear. So I'm not going to let my daughter, it doesn't matter how wealthy I am, I'm not going to let my daughter off just like that, all right? But that said, it still shows you just how unbothered she is. It still shows you just how she is so keen to live her life and does not care what you think. You can go kick rocks, you can go argue with your liver. She does not care. She's so unbothered. And that's beautiful, because again, people will talk, people will have things to say about you, whether you do the right thing, the wrong thing, they'll always have something to talk about. And people will never be contented. And I mean, she's a public figure, so they'll always kind of figure out a way to find fault with her. Right? So anyway, so that's my analysis of Khanyi Mbau. Please let me know in the comments what you think about her. Oh, I forgot my outfit. I haven't worn this outfit in a hot minute. I actually bought it in 2020 during the whatever was going on, and it even has a matching mask, so it's beautiful. I've paired it with a gold belt, and it has pockets. Anyway, let me show you. Let me see. So yeah, it has pockets. This is the belt. Yeah, it's a very lovely dress. Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite. The cut is beautiful. The neckline is a square neck. I don't know what they call it, so it shows off my collarbones beautifully, which I love. So anyhow, so that's it for today's video. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, toodles. Keep shining, keep smiling. Mwah. Oh, and my nails. I forgot my nails. Hot pink.